Hello and welcome to the Sana Psychological Podcast, your safe space for connection, healing, and growth. Each episode, our experienced clinicians and special guests will share strategies, stories, and resources to support your unique path to well-being. Because at Sana, your mental health matters. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sana Psychological Podcast. I'm your host, Paige Abbott. I'm really glad you're here because a lot of people don't think that boundaries in summer, which we associate with fun, relaxation, freedom, needs to even be a thing. So I'm really grateful that you've tuned in to learn more about what we mean by this idea of summer boundaries and how those can actually help you improve and enhance your experience of this season that's upon us. So today we're talking about something that doesn't always get enough attention this time of year, which are summer boundaries. We're going to be diving into how to enjoy the summer fully without sacrificing your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So let's start with the reality. Summer can make healthy living harder. Your schedule shifts, bedtimes get later, social events increase. There might be more travel, more food, more drinks, and often less structure and routine overall. Some common challenges that come up for people in the summer include irregular sleep due to longer daylight and more social plans. So more eating out, indulging at social gatherings, disrupted exercise, and just healthy living overall routines. Pressure to make the most of every moment, that idea of FOMO, fear of missing out. We want to be a part of everything. We want to feel like we're enjoying summer in the way that everyone else is. And we may be doing some comparison that feeds into that idea. There may also be increased spending, overcommitting to things, and I would say just overall less self-reflection time, self-care time, and that ability to tune inwards and just really ask yourself what you need and how the things that you're doing or not doing are working for you. So when we put all of these things together, instead of feeling energized by the summer, you can actually end up feeling scattered, exhausted, irritable, and maybe even guilty, and also fundamentally lost. So as a therapist, I do hear more of the reality that people share with me. And summer is not always the happy, fun, enjoyable space that it's made out to be, especially in our expectations. I do find that when people can participate in more thoughtful boundaries for themselves, that it does improve their experience of the summer. But it does mean getting comfortable doing things a little bit differently and maybe pushing back against those expectations or comparisons and just doing you. If you want to live your summer in a certain way, why not do that? Give it a try, see how it feels. Who are we trying to impress and who are we performing for? I think it's important that we try and move towards more lived authenticity. And that's what I hope boundaries for the summer can really help you do. So what do I mean when I'm saying summer boundaries? Quite simply put, they're the limits that we set to protect our well-being while still allowing flexibility and enjoyment. So think of boundaries as guardrails, not restrictions or brick walls. Boundaries aren't there to limit our fun. They're actually there to sustain it, and I would argue to enhance it. Without boundaries, summer can feel like a free-for-all. But with them, it becomes something that you can enjoy consistently, that's more intentional and fundamentally more balanced. So let's talk about where people tend to struggle the most with their summer boundaries. Some of the things that I've noticed over the years of providing therapy, one of the areas people tend to struggle the most is saying yes to everything that's being asked of them from the outside. So saying yes to all sorts of different social plans, events, commitments, maybe activities for their kids or family. So it's easy to overcommit and end up feeling pretty overwhelmed. So, in saying yes to all of these external invitations and plans, unfortunately, we end up saying no to ourselves and to some of the things that we might need. I know it seems weird to consider that we think it's seasonal, that in winter we just want to do more hibernation, slow things down, be more kind of cozy, more restorative. We think that that's seasonal and that that should be gone and we need to maximize our summer. But where does that need disappear? And does it really disappear? We may still need more of those periods of slowness, of rest, of some going within. Even during the summertime, we can just do it in different weather and different circumstance. We don't have to necessarily push and exclude this part of our coping from our life for these months. Another challenge I see come up in the summer is a lot of all or nothing thinking. So I find people kind of swing between really strict routines. There might even be some unhealthy rigidity there, which we've talked about in a past episode, rather than that flexibility with our boundaries and our time. So we swing from rigidity, everything has to be done and look a certain way, to total abandonment. Well, I don't have time for that. So basically, fuck it. I'm not going to do any of my self care or my healthy routine. And I see this particularly with the vacation and travel mindset. I'm on vacation, so nothing counts, or I can restart in September. And again, there's this abandonment of self that can happen during this time. And from a mental health perspective, the longer that we abandon ourselves, the harder it is to come back. So, what might feel like a break or a vacation can actually end up biting us down the road because it's that much harder to come back to the things that truly nurture and support and replenish us than if maybe we were able to keep them in our lives. Might look different during different seasons, but do we need to abandon them completely? I don't think so. Other things that come up for people in the summer that can feel uncomfortable, this social pressure, which doesn't sit comfortably for everybody. There's a lot of fellow introverts in the crowd and in the world who really don't want to change their social boundaries and their social dynamic that much just because the season is different. And so doing social activities weekly or multiple times in a week can feel really overwhelming for some people. For others, it's where they thrive and they really enjoy that. And that's awesome if that's you. But it's important that we know ourselves and work with who we are rather than working against it. That social pressure, those invitations can also come with more exposure to activities and behavior that also may not feel the healthiest for people. So that might be more food, more alcohol, drugs, other substances. Might mean staying out really late. So these summer norms and changed expectations and boundaries can make it harder to stick to what feels good for you. I will confess, I do feel kind of weird, and definitely other people have made it known that it's kind of weird to be going to bed in the bright sun when it's 9 p.m. in the summer. It's beautiful outside, but that's the time that I need to go to bed in order to feel rested and rejuvenated. And that doesn't really change throughout the year. I like my sleep. That's a key anchor for me for my well-being, and I'm pretty diligent about that. And I do know though it can bring up discomfort because I've had people say, like, what's the big deal? It's still bright. Like, why not stay up till 11:30 at night?" And that just doesn't work for me. And that can lead to that losing of routine completely, which is probably one of the bigger challenges I do see for people in the summer. Just everything becomes so topsy turvy. If people have kids, they're not in school. So that changes the whole household routine. Again, there might be more time off, more travel. At work, other people are away. And so there might be more pressure or responsibility for you. If you're a student, you're now maybe not in school or school looks different. different. And so just everything can change for this period of time. And rather than adapt and bring in sort of an adapted routine and structure, a lot of times people just abandon all of that and say, it's just a couple of months, I'll see where it goes, but then end up not really being able to maximize the enjoyment and the calmness of the summer. So, what do we do about this? Well, hopefully, we can move towards being more practical with boundaries that actually work. So, a starting point for this that I would recommend is to get honest with yourself about your anchors. Or what you could think of as your non negotiables. So, generally, there's two or three things that you know you need to feel good. So, for some people, it could be around sleep, like myself. It could be around body movement, could be around social connection, hydration, could be lots of different things. And whatever it is, there's no right or wrong with this. It's just knowing yourself of what really helps you the most. And now those become your anchors, your non negotiables, the things that you will really fight to preserve and keep in your day and in your routine, even if everything else is sort of thrown into disarray and looks quite different. So keep it simple. You definitely don't need a perfect routine. You don't need every minute of your day mapped out or to be consistent. We just need to have those few anchors. They can also be things like journaling or meditation or prayer, making a cup of tea. So, whatever provides you with some benefit. And again, even that is subjective. What are we looking for with benefit? Well, whatever you need to feel well. So, if that's slowing down, if that's a healthy feeling body, some mental kind of refocused or focused time, downtime, quiet, whatever the things that really help recharge your batteries, these can become those non negotiables. And again, we only want a couple. We don't want to be having 8 or 10 because then that can start to feel overwhelming and unmanageable and a lot easier to flip into the fuck it zone where we just let it all go. Whereas if we're hanging on to two or three anchors, those are more realistic and we can prioritize those while keeping in mind the flexibility and the fluidity of the day. You could practice more selectively saying yes to things. I often encourage people to start practicing pausing when they're invited to things to give themselves a chance to really reflect on, is this something I actually want to do? Does it fit within the context of my life at that time? And then go back with your response. So, starting to practice making your default, hey, thanks for the invite. I'll think about that and get back to you, rather than putting that pressure on yourself that you have to respond right away. It's okay to take time. And it's also okay that you don't have to say yes to everything. We have limited time, resources, energy, capacity. You're not going to be able to say yes to everything that comes your way, and you may not want to say yes to everything that comes your way. The caveat too may be you want to maybe say yes to a lot of the invitations coming your way. And so selectively also remembering that when we're saying yes to things, we are also saying no to other things. So sometimes we need to say no to certain events or invitations in order to say yes to ourselves and perhaps to those non negotiables or those anchors that you've identified for yourself. Try and create some flexible structure during the summer. So instead of rigid schedules, maybe think in like time ranges. So morning movement or an evening walk, home cooked meals most days, balanced weekdays, looser weekends, kind of thinking in those different pockets of time, whether within the day or the week, just to give you some orientation and some balance between attending to yourself, your day to day responsibilities, and also some of the fun and enjoyable things that you want to participate in during the summer. That flexibility can help prevent feeling overwhelmed or feeling too all or nothing in your approach. It's also okay to set social boundaries during the summer. So, trying to decide for yourself how much alcohol you want to consume, if at all, at different events, what kinds of foods make you feel good that you want to consume, which ones you don't, how late you want to stay out, conversational topics that you're okay with, ones that you're not okay with. Having some idea about these intentions beforehand can help reduce decision fatigue in the moment, which opens up some resources. And hopefully, those resources can be used to enjoy the moment, feel more connected, feel more engaged, and enjoy things on our terms where we're not feeling as much subdued to pressure, expectation, that we can do these things for ourselves. Another part of summer boundaries I want to address are vacations, because travel, time away, again, it always sounds really good in theory. But some things that I've noticed time after time after time, that when people go in without themselves in mind, and specifically how they're going to take care of themselves while they're away, there's almost a correlation between the less we think about ourselves, the less enjoyable travel and time away is. When people are considering themselves as well as what's going on in their vacation, interestingly enough, or maybe not so interestingly, enjoyment increases. So we're able to see that when we're still investing in ourselves, when we still pay attention to those non negotiables, the things that help us feel healthier and at our best, it shows up. It actually allows us to be present, more connected, and get more out of the experiences that we have while we're traveling. Vacations are fundamentally meant to be a break. I often see, though, that they can be more exhausting. And I think a lot of that is because people come into them without many thoughts about boundaries. They're all about just maximizing the time, but forgetting that they're not robots, that we also need replenishment, rejuvenation. And if we don't go into vacations with that in mind, there can be a bit of a breakdown of things that support us and then also our enjoyment along the way. So, how can you approach travel and vacations in a healthier way? A few things that I would encourage you to keep in mind. One is keep a light routine while you're gone. You don't need your full schedule, but again, hanging on to one or two or three of those personal anchors can be really helpful during time away. So that might mean a morning stretch or a walk, staying hydrated, eating with awareness, bringing an inspirational reader book that you can look at in the morning, doing a little bit of journaling or reflection, having some kind of quiet reflection or meditation time, whatever that looks like for you, just keeping some of those anchors present. It allows us to ground ourselves and therefore be open to being connected and being more present to what's happening during our days. Try and move into travel and vacations with awareness and not perfection. So enjoy your experiences. Be aware of what's going on around you, within you. Check in with yourself. What do you need? It's okay to be adaptive and flexible and start to shake things up if you need to, if it's not feeling like it's working. Some people will overbook themselves prior to going on vacation. And once they're there, realize they really just need to slow things down, do more of a relaxing, restful vacation. Can you give yourself permission to make those changes? We probably can't if we don't even check in with ourselves on what we need. We just proceed as planned. But if we do stop to check in and we're mindful of ourselves along the way, maybe then we can adapt and modify things to really maximize and amplify what we need out of that time, which might be different than what we anticipated going in. Try and avoid the mentality that this is like your only chance to enjoy a break, enjoy good food. Same thing with the summer in general. These are all the continuations of our life and our experiences. When we remove that scarcity thinking, we naturally make more balanced choices because we're not living in this mentality that this is our only chance for us to do whatever we're intending to do. There's going to be lots more days, lots more opportunities in your life to rest, to have fun, to explore different things. So it's about that balance. We don't want to burn ourselves out, even on the fun things. We want to keep that kind of moderation and that feeling of attending to ourselves so that we can fully participate in what it is that we're doing. And also planning your return. I notice a lot of people come back and they come back sort of as close to when they feel they quote unquote need to as possible. But then that can really make the transition back into daily routine that much harder. And that can include the transition from summer, maybe back into more of a structured work or school schedule, whereas a more gentle transition, even like a buffer day to start orienting in that different direction, thinking about more routine and planning and preparing, being able to unpack from any travel, get things clean, get things organized, and then also get yourself set up for moving back into that more structured routine can really be a game changer and a lifesaver, can really help people kind of feel that they're taking away the enjoyment and the rest from the travel or the vacation or the downtime that they've had, and also now setting themselves up to not go back into a more structured day and routine, feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, and already feeling behind, because no one likes that. If we feel behind, we're going in from kind of a lack or, again, a scarcity mindset. And then we always feel like we're behind the eight ball, which doesn't feel good when we're trying to catch up. It's nice to feel on top of things and that we're going in again from a pretty balanced place and feeling like we have ourselves in mind. So, in general, in the summer, the paradox is that boundaries don't reduce our enjoyment, they actually increase it. And I do fully stand behind this idea because I see it all the time in action. Year after year, it proves itself in people's experiences where when they go in more thoughtful, they come out going, wow, like I have more memories of this. I really enjoyed the experiences that I did. The things that were more stressful or unexpected, I could cope with them. I could navigate them because I was within myself. I was present. I was able to cope because I had more energy and capacity and resources on board. So when you get enough rest, when you don't overcommit, when you feel physically good, when you're aligned with your values, when you're intentional, you actually experience summer more fully. So instead of feeling like you need a big reset in September, you feel steady the whole way through. So trying to shift from you have to do everything to I choose what matters the most for me in these weeks ahead in the summer. Summer doesn't have to be a season of extremes, either total discipline or total chaos. It can be a season of continued balance, intention, and genuine enjoyment. Boundaries aren't about missing out. They're about making sure you're actually there for the moments that matter. If this episode resonated with you, I really hope you'll be intentional and considerate of some of the suggestions provided and maximize your summer. Make it your own, make it personal, and make it what it needs to be for you. You may want to share this episode with someone who might need a reminder that you can enjoy summer and take care of yourself. Thank you so much for listening. I always appreciate you being here, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you for listening to the Sana Psychological Podcast. We're glad you joined us today. For more resources, free tools, or to book a session with our team, visit sanapsychological.com. Your mental health is our priority. Until next time, be gentle with yourself and take good care.